There are a lot of people who are into depression, a lot of depressive symptoms when it comes to their own skin and how they want to look, and they are into so much about the skin and then the kind of fashion they want to look into or the kind of fashion they have. It's just very heartbreaking to know that people are getting into depression and because of the skin and all of that. So I want to understand, are Indians are someone who has to look up on into these kind of countries, and if at all we are seeing and the kind of culture that they have and the kind of skin that they have, the glass skin which got again very much into famous these days. So I want to understand what exactly this Korean skincare is all about. Is it just a marketing campaign, or is it reality, or is it truth, and how true is it that we can also achieve those kind of skills and have those kind of sometimes expectations which are way beyond the reality? Hello, Dr. Deepthi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. So, Dr. Deepthi, since you are on the podcast and I have the leverage to ask you certain questions that I really want to. I've always fond of doctors. Basically, I always wanted to be a doctor myself, but then I was scared of blood. And back then, I don't think there was enough people around me to tell me that there are also other, specializations when it comes to doctors. You can also be a dermatologist, let's say. You can also be something else. So I never knew that I can be someone who cannot deal with blood as well. So I did not take MBBS. But then having said that, I'm always fascinated by doctors, the kind of work they do. Even recently in COVID, if you see it, there are lots of things that doctors have done, and I'm really grateful and happy for the things they have done. But since you're here and you're a dermatologist, I want to ask this question, which I'm sure everyone wants to ask you, is that what's your skincare routine? So let's say you wake up in the morning. I want to understand right from waking up till you're sleeping, and then all the routines. I just want to understand what's your routine.
So my skincare routine is actually very basic, and I actually believe in that. Luckily, there are good genes, so my skin hasn't been breaking out like when I was in teen or something. So I did not break out, had a lot of issues with the pigmentation and all. So I keep my routine basic. Maybe if I had those, my routine would have been different. So when I wake up, I wash my face and I apply a good moisturizer and a sunscreen, which is a very light finish. I do not like something very sticky on the face. And on top of it, I just layer it up with a compact or something. And that's my morning routine, that's all. I don't use anything like a vitamin C or a hyaluronic acid or anything, currently at least. So right now, I did not feel the need for my skin. So in the afternoon, again, when I have some time during the clinic hours, I just reapply my sunscreen around 12ish or 1 o'clock. And in the evening, I come back, wash my face, just apply moisturizer and a good actives. So basically something for skin pigmentation or any minor concerns, basically. So I use that in the evening. So it's been very simple actually.
And how do you take it off? Do you take it off? Because I've seen my sister, I have my elder sister. She takes it off, she comes, washes her face and applies again all of it. So what do you do before you sleep?
So I just wash my face with a good cleanser, which is very gentle, pH based. I don't use double cleansing and all that because, as I told, I don't apply makeup. So if I'm someone who is using makeup on a regular basis, then I would have to remove it with a cleansing balm, or I have to use micellar water, remove it and then wash the face. So my routine is basic, so I need not put an extra effort in the cleansing. Just wash the face and apply moisturizer, apply some good serum, and good to go.
So you're someone who gets ready very quickly and comes out of the closet. Your husband can swear by? All right. So, since you have mentioned about minimalistic, being minimalistic as in when it comes to skin routines, there's something called as skinnilism. What is it? What's the word? I'm really sorry. You should be good at it. Is it skin plus minimalism? It's about skinmilism, something like that.
I think this is some Gen Z term.
Oh, yeah. I am a Gen Z. Do I look old, by the way? How old do you think am I?
I think 21, 22.
Yeah, 22. Yeah, perfect. All right. So I want to understand when it comes to being very generic or very minimalistic to skin, but then there are also people who do a 10-step routine and all of that. So which is better, and does it have any sides to it, negative and positives, being minimalistic or being someone who going for a 10-step process, or does it do much harm? Because I sometimes feel that it's too much for the skin, for the face, when you do this 10-step routine and all of that. So what is your take on this?
So there are different type of clients actually. There are so many skin types, and Indians have a lot of variations in the skin types based on the climate based on the season. So we have like multiple concerns, like when it comes to the skin, because face is the exposed part.
Right.
Now my set is like very simple. I use something which is basic, and I have couple of friends who are like again like minimalistic and all. At the same time, there are other dermat friends, for example, they love layering the products and they like it. They don't feel anything like breakouts or something. They feel the skin is much healthier when they're using like multiple products. It's same with the clients, like some have like very less concerns, or some are satisfied with a simple routine, and due to very busy schedule and all, some cannot even follow. But there are skin enthusiasts who would love to apply like some. So recently the Korean skincare routine was very famous, like 10-step routine.
Right.
Now there are people who have actually followed that, but there are people who feel that's such a burden.
Right.
Now when I see people, we understand what they want, and we actually like think in the head, like do they actually need that, and is it going to benefit them? So there are pros and cons which way we, and based on that, like we go ahead with giving them a prescription whether they need this or not. Right. So someone who loves to do it, so we can add on in the further like follow up when they come, we just add on one more serum or like 2 serums, or if they're looking at like a better result. So a lot of people in front of the cameras and all, their skin gets dehydrated, their skin gets very dull, so they need it. And because of these HD cameras, every pore of the skin is being visible in the camera, so they want to correct it. So it's for their own like confidence sort of. So when they come on a regular follow-up, we increase the routine if they're able to follow. If they're unable to follow, then there is no point in increasing the routine and like making them just take some 10 creams and just putting it like in front of them. So every skin is different. Every person, based on whether they can do it or not, we schedule their prescription or like the follow-ups and how many they have to use. So layering is not bad, but I don't know how anyone can do a 10-step layering. It's very difficult because every product should blend in with each other. That's when you'll get that perfect look. So if something is flaky and like something is greasy, at the end after using 10-step, if it is not looking good, then what's the point? So it has to be taken stepwise is what I feel. Kind of skincare is like a persistent and like a slow thing. It's not like fast. It's never fast. The results or the procedures what we do, the creams what they apply, nothing is fast, and unfortunately nothing is like so permanent also.
And since you've mentioned, I think this is where dermats come into play. Because most of us, we look at certain videos, we consume certain videos, certain content, and then we believe that this is good for us, and without consultation we directly go and do things. But then you guys are the ones who actually know what to go for or not. And I think this is where dermats come into place. And most of the times I've seen people harming themselves more than actually correcting themselves because of these kind of process. But then now, since I've mentioned about the Korean routines, which is being very famous nowadays, and to be honest, it's very toxic as well. In South Korea, I've done my own research. I've little bit done my research, and I've known that there are a lot of people who are into depression, a lot of depressive symptoms when it comes to their own skin and how they want to look, and they are into so much about the skin and then the kind of fashion they want to look into or the kind of fashion they have. It's just very heartbreaking to know that people are getting into depression and because of the skin and all of that. So I want to understand, are Indians are someone who has to look upon into these kind of countries, and if at all we are seeing and the kind of culture that they have and the kind of skin that they have, the glass skin, which got again very much into famous these days. So I want to understand what exactly this Korean skincare is all about. Is it just a marketing campaign, or is it reality, or is it both? And how true is it that we can also achieve those kind of skills and have those kind of sometimes expectations which are way beyond the reality?
So Koreans are designed, their genetics are different. What they eat is different, and what they apply, maybe if we apply, the results might not be same. Because for example, we both are sitting here. The same product, if I apply, maybe I might be seeing results, but you might not be seeing the results. And when it comes to Korean, their skin has a lot of collagen, and that itself gives a glassy appearance. And on top of it, they do a lot. Now, when it comes to Indians, our collagen is different, but I love Indian collagen actually, because we don't get the sag like how we see in the West. Usually, like they sag all over the body. We don't sag like all over the body. Yeah, certain areas, yes, and post-pregnancy, delivery and all that, yes, we see some amount of sag and laxity, but unlike them, our hands and all don't sag. So I love Indian collagen, and the color variations also, it's actually really good. We aim at something else. The same thing with glass skin. A lot of people come to me and ask me, I want glass skin. Is it a
what exactly is glass skin?
So basically the translucency of the skin. So when the light reflects, it actually looks like very translucent. It gives that like, a very nice luminescence to the skin. So it feels like it's a glass skin, like very glossy finish like that.
Right.
So to achieve that's very difficult. I don't think so. Practically, I don't think so Indians can achieve that. Because our melanin is different, our collagen, everything is, our skin composition is slightly different, and the food we eat is also very different.
Right.
Now when we are trying to achieve that, you're actually losing something, your own skin's radiance and everything, and you're going behind something which is not so practical. Maybe out of like whatever Indian population, like maybe 10% of the people, they might get it, but they have to do a lot. They have to do a lot of procedures, they have to do a lot of treatments like every week, every 2 weeks, but still will they achieve it or not? We don't assure them you're going to achieve it or not.
Right.
But they want to do it, and they are looking at something. So we're like, okay, these treatments will help you, and if it is working on you, then it's perfect, you're sorted. But if it is not, you cannot blame why, because your genetics are made up like that. Every DNA, you cannot change it, right? Yeah.
Right. And how does we bring this awareness part? Because most of them are following it blindly, sometimes rigorously, self-harming themselves more than doing good. So how can we bring this awareness? How can we make sure that this is reached to the people who are actually doing something like this and harming them?
So I'm sure offline, a lot of dermats are encouraging their patients or clients that be practical. But online, there is so much marketing going on, like apply this, like, apply this or use this. You have pimples, use salicylic acid. You have tan, use AHA, BHA, azelaic acid, glycolic acid. Everything is on the internet, like, everything is on Instagram, everywhere. Now, whatever job the dermatologists are doing, like offline, I don't know for how much it is going to reach, but definitely in clinic we keep telling them, listen, all these are there, but to achieve that, it's a lot of hard work, and you have to be obsessed into the skincare and like do the treatments and all. Now how practical it is, like for them to come every 2 weeks and get some or the other thing done.
Right.
So the marketing is like way beyond what we are doing. So yeah.
So coming to India, since we're talking about marketing, do you feel bad about certain marketing campaigns that's happening in India when it comes to beauty standards?
Yes. Yeah. Because like how you mentioned earlier, in Korea, people are actually depressed and all.
Yeah.
So I don't think Indian population is there yet, but I'm sure if this is going to be like this, for sure people will land up, because I see some girls, very young girls, coming to me and asking like, I have this, I just have to remove. If it is a tiny spot also, I have seen them very upset with that. They just want to get it removed. I mean, one spot, two spot is okay, and how much you're going to do for those a little thing, like it might fade away in like a month or a two sort of. So I don't think it's still there yet, but yeah, I'm sure with this kind of marketing, like further down the lane, it can happen.
And India, of course, is like a very big populated country. It's almost around 1.4 billion now. And I think that different products have different markets here, because we are a country which diverse income groups as well. So there are certain products which can be afforded by certain group, and then there are other products as well. So coming to the most important group in India, that's the middle class society, who is actually consuming lots of products, right? Lots of, let's say, sugar, that's completely directed towards middle income groups. So I want to understand, how can someone understand the affordability of these kind of products, and how to stop wasting this money? How exactly can you know that this is the right product for you and this is not the right product for you? Because for marketing, every product is good for you, right? I mean, no matter what kind of skin you have, but you can definitely use a product because of the marketing that's going on. So how exactly a certain person can know that whether this product is for them or not? Is it always to come to a dermatologist consultations, or can you do it by yourself as well?
The main thing I have against the marketing is don't promote that you apply this, your acne will go away. For example, your acne can be because of multiple reasons, like hormonal acne, adult onset acne, or by application of some random creams you must have got, or it's simple pubertal acne sort of. So the marketing itself is going wrong. Now I cannot control the marketing part. What I can control is, when the client comes to me, I can guide them, listen, you're overdoing it or you're not doing it at all, lifestyle and everything we counsel.
So one thing is how exactly someone can know whether this product is ours or not, and then second part is since there are lots of marketing going on, and every product can be suited to you, what are your views on it? That's it. Very normal, very gentle.
Cost.
Yeah, the cost, the
cost
affordability.
thing,
The affordability.
Yeah. So I think skincare is definitely affordable. At least when it comes to products, a lot of companies are there outside which are putting their product on and multiple ranges. Like for example, if you see salicylic acid, some X brand has it at around like 400-500. There is some other brand which sells salicylic acid for like 2,000 also. So affordability is not difficult.
But do you think there's a difference between a product which costs around 500 with the same formula and a product with a brand with some other, into 10x of the same product? So I want to understand, because I myself have seen a sunscreen which would cost you for like 700-800, and the same sunscreen, not the same exactly, but the brand is different. Might be some ingredients might be different, but it can actually be sold at, let's say, 3,000-4,000 as well, INRs, right? Which is like a huge money for the middle groups or for in general in India. So I want to understand, is there a difference between these kind of products? Because the same composition, there would be something same, and I'm not sure about the ingredients much, but then I want to understand, is there a particular difference?
I think if the pH is balanced, and if the product is well researched, it will be the same thing. Now, if you're buying a 700-800 rupee sunscreen, if you're buying 3,000 rupee sunscreen, I don't see a great difference, because ultimately what it has to do, it has to protect your skin when you're exposed or not exposed. If it is doing that, then I think it should be good. Now, brand value is something like, which happens when it comes to skincare products. I have seen like, a lot of people who prefer like, something which is above 2,000, 3,000, unlike like, around 1,000 sort of. So that's a preference from the client. Although there are few products which have ingredients which are imported. So those products are definitely expensive. Now, should you use that to get the result? It's not mandatory. So you have been using something, you can try which are dermat prescribed or well researched products, which will give you the same adequate results. But maybe slightly the feel of it and the ingredient list is slightly different, but you can achieve more or less same results. So the products need not be like, very expensive products, especially in skincare. But people have that belief, is what I feel like, when they come
that's psychology, right? Again.
Yeah. But I think it's been established since ages. Okay, if you have to go to a dermat, maybe it'll be expensive because the creams are all expensive. But I think you can definitely like, review the products and like give them something which is affordable. So I think the products are for everyone. If someone is not looking at procedures and all, that's absolutely fine. But at least the products part, if you use, you can protect your skin from multiple things like, long run, whatever the pigmentation is happening, and like fine lines and wrinkles or the signs of aging, especially open pores, like, a lot of talk going on about open pores and the tan, everything you can cover at least with minimal basic skincare, and that is definitely affordable.
So let's say an adult above 18 years of age, and he or she wants to make sure that they are taking care of their skin, right, and having a skincare routine. What are the products that you would say you can, recommend them as of now? Or not products exactly, I'm not asking you to give me the brands and all of that, but what are the general products in a skin sunscreen or moisturizer, etc. And in a most affordable way. So 18-year-old adult who wants to take care of their skin in a most affordable way, and what are the products that they can use?
So I would say start with sunscreen. That's the thing what I did like when I was say 19-20, when I was in MBBS second year. So I got like very massive tan. So I did not know why. And then when I went to the dermat, like in our college, he said just start the sunscreen. And I'm very consistent with the sunscreen. So I will advise anyone like after 16 or 17, however it is, just use a good face wash and apply sunscreen every day. So that will actually give you the skin what you'll thank yourself later for using the sunscreen. So if you're saying 18-year-old, I understand like, they cannot spend for themselves. So you have to look at some budget sunscreens. There are amazing sunscreens around 700, 800, 1,000 rupees, that's all. So one sunscreen will last for quite few days to month. So depending on the packaging, so they can use the sunscreen regularly, and that's one basic thing what they can do. Now when it is 18-year-old, they might be having some amount of acne or dandruff issues or like pimple spots sort of. When there is something like that, then we will give one more extra, a gel or a cream sort of, which they can use and at least reduce the flare up of acne and also control the dandruff. And 18-year-old, one more thing what I want to add on is lifestyle changes, because I'm seeing a lot of lifestyle changes these days. Everyone is into Instagram scrolling. Okay, I mean like you can do that, but not like around like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock at night, and so I think lifestyle is something which we are focusing on. When someone is coming, we are kind of like educating them. You have to sleep on time and wake up on time. and you have to eat on time. So if you're eating at 1 o'clock some biryani or like something like that, how do you expect that you don't get pigmentation or acne in the long run, or like maybe after 2-3 months only?
Right.
And there are no shortcuts.
Right. You just personally attacked me because I also have a very bad sleep cycle. But
a lot of them I'm seeing like these days, like whenever they come, what time do you sleep? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, what time do you wake up? I wake up at 10. Okay, fine. If you're waking up, okay. But there's something called circadian rhythm.
Right.
So your body responds to the circadian rhythm. When the sunset happens, like after that within 2-3 hours, ideally you have to eat and sleep. Practically I don't expect that to happen, but at least by 10ish, at least the sleep cycle should start.
Right.
Yeah. It's about the hormonal release, because when there is a sunlight, morning 8 o'clock, there are certain hormones which are released, and at sunset time there are certain hormones which are released, and they act on your gut basically. They act on the gut and makes the things smoother on a day-to-day basis.
Right. And not many know this, but the healthier the gut, the healthier the skin, right?
Right.
And also many doesn't know that skin is the largest organ of our human body. But at the same time, when it comes to dermatologists, we think it's only about skin, but it's not about just skin, it's also about your hair. Right. So now we'll get into the hair part. These days recently we have seen that actors, lots of them, they're getting into going into hair transplantations, which was a taboo before. Going into hair transplantation, we were like, oh, should I go or not, and etc. Lots of confusion. But now people are voluntarily going, and there's no much taboo about it. But then I also want to understand, are there any side effects in the long term? Because I understand actors, they have the best of doctors, the best of clinics, and the best of hospitals. They can afford well.
Yeah.
And most of the times, I don't think they are also getting into hair plantations in India, right? They go to abroad and some of the best hospitals as well. But then, let's say there's this 24-year-old and he's losing his hair and he wants to get into hair transplantation. Do you think there are right mechanisms, right measures here in India that can take care of that? And if it's a yes, I want to understand what would be the difference between the actors taking care, going somewhere around the abroad and taking care of their hair, and someone doing it here. I want to understand that part.
Yeah. So I don't know why Turkey is really famous for hair transplantation, but I think the medical tourism is really strong, and I think India should do that too, because a lot of good hair transplant surgeons are available in India. A lot of them who are dermatologists and plastic surgeons who are actually practicing hair transplant, and the results are really amazing. Only thing with hair transplant is not a single session. Sometimes you might have to go for a touch-up session because it's based on the donor area. So how much hair do you have in the back or in the beard, and how many can we extract from that and give you a good natural aesthetic looking hairline. So coming to the cricketers and actors, they have been doing it, but now they're openly saying, okay, fine, we are getting it done, especially men. And again, women who got hair transplant, who are into page 3 sector, they don't tell they have got it done. But men are slightly open because it's seen on the camera, right?
The visibility.
Yeah, it's very well seen. Now, affordability, I think hair transplant in India is like a really good thing. I think people should consider getting it done here.
Right.
And the surgeons are also good, the results are very good, but it takes 8 to 10 months for you to see the results. It's not immediate results.
Okay.
Yeah. And actors and cricketers...
And was this, if you're doing it abroad, is it
it's
very immediate?
It's the same.
Is it immediate result?
No. It's the same. Okay. So what happens is, in the meanwhile, when someone is into camera or movies and all, they try to cover it up with patches or wigs.
Right.
But common people would not do that.
Right.
So that's why there is a time lapse. 8 to 10 months it takes time for them to see the full result. Okay.
Right.
And coming to the prices, I think prices are very reasonable here also. But the follow-up is very important. But I'm actually frustrated looking at hair loss clients. The options are very limited. So there are PRP, there are GFCs, there are stem cells, there are certain procedures which we do, but the ultimate thing is hair transplant. But when you do the hair transplant, it's not the final, okay, now you can just sit back and relax, okay, I got my hair. You have to still use the serums like minoxidil, and you have to use non-minoxidil based serums also, and a certain set of vitamins and all, and you have to manage it lifelong. It's not you just do it and it's done. So that maintenance part is sometimes difficult with common people. Others will definitely have access. They do n number of procedures to protect the hair. They try stem cell, they try PRPs, GFCs, meso, a lot of things. But for others who come to us generally, we expect them to stick on that routine of application of serums and all, so that they can avoid all these, or like excessive procedures they can avoid. They can stick to the serums and minimal procedures post hair transplant, so that they can retain the hair for say 20 years or 25 years.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. I want to understand the truth behind the Ayurvedic oils, because like these days anything you say Ayurvedic is going off the shelves. People are buying it like crazy, right? So I want to understand, can we actually stop losing our hair or something like that using this Ayurvedic oils, and do you think there's a reality in it? I
don't think so.
Okay.
Our hair loss consultations have increased by 50%, I would say, in the past 5 to 7 years. Everyone, even I have seen one kid who is 11 to 12-year-old. He doesn't have hair, like almost it's like grade 6 to 7 hair loss. Now, if these oils would have helped, none of them would have come to us. Or why are these, like a lot of marketing companies are also advertising Redensil, Minoxidil, so many brand names are coming up with these ingredients. Now if you see, their ingredient is this, but they just club it with some other any plant-based extract, but they market that plant-based extract more than this, and that's how the hype comes. But I don't think so any of the oil will not work. Now when it comes to serum, yes, it can control to a certain extent. I'm not saying minoxidil is going to stop your hair fall totally. 50% of the people are only going to benefit from minoxidil. Rest of the 50 might not have receptors, or they're not applying properly, or it's not helping them. Even minoxidil is not helping them. So there are cases like that wherein just the application is not enough. We put them on tablets, and that's for a long term too. Now tell me, when we are trying to do so much, a simple oil just you apply, how much of it can get absorbed into the scalp? It's not possible for it to get absorbed, because it's a very microscopic thing also. But India is a little bit fond of kind of, yes, you can say, even in creams. A lot of natural this thing comes up, and any company which says as it's natural ingredient or organic, organic doesn't exist, at least when it comes to the skin, because even our ingredients are derived from plant. But then you add certain stability creams because of the seasonal variations. The bacteriostatic, that means it should not get bacteria, or it should not get contaminated basically. So for those we add those chemicals. It's not like these are purely chemical derived or something. They're all derived. Like for example, glycolic acid is also derived from sugarcane or something. Mandelic acid is from badam. So it's all from natural only, but we don't like to call them natural or organic because there are certain chemicals added. So the reason why I've asked about Ayurveda is because if you remember Vicco turmeric, there's this brand Vicco. There are lots of companies that exist today in the Indian market, and lots of companies are about cosmetics and all of it. But then one of the highest sold products are from Vicco. So I want to understand, since they are getting into the Ayurvedic segment, like they have always mentioned that we have, there's this also ad of Alia Bhatt, if you have known or not. She just purely mentioned that this is not a movie, like a product is not a movie, a toothpaste is not a movie, and it doesn't have to be very fancy as such, It's just a toothpaste, and it would definitely help you with your problems with your tooth and all of that. So it was very simple, very proactively, because when you look at marketing campaigns of other products, they're like, this has that, and it's all fancy and all of that, colors and all of it. Vicco, it has like one of the blandest ever marketing campaign, I'd say, but very creative again at sense. So I want to understand why are such kind of product or Vicco products are actually going on the sale so much, and people are buying it, and people actually trust in them, and they also have Ayurvedic things and all of it. So I want to understand, why do you think this happens with Vicco? Why is it still one of the best products that's been sold? So I think Vicco was started way back. How many years back? It was there from even I don't know, since its inception. So when a product is established, and during those days people don't have access to all the skincare, and those days dermatology is mainly about say medical grade diseases and all. Now there is something called aesthetics and cosmetology, because everything we grasped from the West actually. So during those days, when there was no access to anything else, and Vicco turmeric was one of the most affordable, and those days we did not have skin concerns, where was the pollution, where was this bad lifestyle, how was our gut, what were we eating. So when you apply Vicco turmeric, it can have some amount of moisturizing ingredients for sure, because ultimately it's a cream. Same thing with Fair and Lovely. A lot of people used to apply. Even now I get some people saying, I apply morning Fair and Lovely, can I apply that with sunscreen? Because the brand has been established, and the word of mouth is so strong for those products. And again, there'll be around 200 Yeah. So when you have to design even a basic skincare routine, it takes like 4 to 5 products, and your prescription crosses 2,000 or something. But a simple Vico turmeric, like, you know, it's there since ages, like in your house, your grandmoms or moms or someone is saying. So you would be like, okay, fine, why not? Let me try that. So they include that. So all that it gives is a moisturizing effect for sure. And it has some natural ingredients as they promote. Now tell me which moisturizer is only having natural ingredients. In that case, when someone is promoting aloe vera and aloe vera gel and all, aloe vera gel's pH is not what our skin pH is. There are people who have come to us applying aloe vera gel and having like burns on the face. Tomato, potato, it's all over the internet, and people apply that, and 2-3 days before the wedding they come with like, you know, nice burns. Now in 2-3 days I can't do magic. I mean, I need some time. So the products which are established and the DIYs which are established at home, people find it easy to do. Okay, again I have to go get a prescription or use this, that. Like, why don't I try something which is natural? So that's the concept which goes behind, like, you know, this Fair and Lovely, Vico, because easily accessible, you can get it anywhere. And what am I going to lose, like, you know, by just applying some 150 rupees cream sort of. It's something like that is what I feel, and their marketing is established. And nowadays so many companies are coming up saying organic and all. We are seeing reactions. A lot of people are getting away also. I mean, they're fine because their skin, their skin is able to take it.
Right. So now we've spoken about Ayurvedic. We have also spoken about the brands that's been established.
Not to mention, all these actors and actresses, they say they're using, like, you know, just some ice or something, but I'm sure they're getting tons of procedures. But I'm just waiting for the day when they are ready to expose, or they're ready to come out and say, listen, like, we are getting it done. Because it's obvious, you cannot be in front of camera, travel so much, and, like, you know, exposed to all sorts of climate in the shoot locations and all, and just apply, like, you know, some honey, haldi and all that. No, that's one small part of the routine, and they have to say their own routines. And again, that's, I think, like mostly PR sort of, like, wherein they have to give one recipe. Nowadays I see the reels, one recipe, like, you know, some ex-actress likes or something, like, for example, Janhvi Kapoor. A lot of people love her skin and, like, you know, how she got things done actually. So I think one viral reel wherein she only posted on her story where she told, like, you know, my face after getting so many things, something like that. So at least, like, few are okay, but most of them don't want to say that. They mainly like push it off to their workout, drink lots of water, and those basic like apply ice and all that.
And I think that's where the, you know, the expectations come from general people as well. I think people are getting there, and I guess there should be a sense of responsibility when it comes to, you know, celebs, people who look up to them. But then I also believe that maybe it's too much for a celebrity to overburden them with, you know, these kind of responsibilities. So how do you think that balance can be, you know, created?
I am not sure because being celebrities, they also have their own regulations and limitations. So they can't come out and say, like, you know, we have got so many things done. But now people are aware, okay, they get things done. It's not like, you know, naturally their face is not like that. Also, one more thing is, celebrities have become that because their genetics are also good. They have, like, you know, good hair or, like, you know, good skin. I mean, the features are good. That's why, like, you know, in front of the camera also they're able to, like, you know, do themselves sort of. And then they add on these procedures as accentuation, enhancements sort of, so genetically they might be having something, and then they're just adding these things on. So practically we have been counseling everyone, okay, it's not just they use some small thing and, like, you know, they get it, and there is so much maintenance for them. I'm sure like there is so much maintenance.
Now we'll talk about the next part, which is like very famous these days. That's the vegan thing, so I want to understand the truth and the myths that we have around vegan products and all of it, and does it really work?
Oh, you're talking about vegan products? I was thinking vegan food.
No, not vegan food. I'm talking about vegan products.
I don't see any sense in the vegan products. I want my product to work, and I don't expect it to have no chemicals, no parabens, like no this thing, no, I don't want. I want the product to be stable. And if I am designing a product, which a lot of people are designing these days, every actress has their own line. Now, I don't know how much research is going into that. What products we use have a very long research base, and a lot of people have tried it, used it, and then it comes into the picture with FDA clearance. And these products, vegan, organic, and, like, you know, in 6 months there is a new skincare brand coming up. Like Kriti has Hyphen, Alia has No, I think she doesn't have
No,
skincare.
Kriti and then Priyanka Chopra, I guess, which is again.
Priyanka Chopra has
one of
hair
the- yeah.
thing. Deepika has
Yeah.
82E.
82, yeah.
Yeah. So all these products, I don't know, in 6 months, it's not FDA clearance, right? You just design a product, you get it out, and there is a huge marketing campaigns and all going on. But I don't know how much efficacy they have.
Did you try the products? I mean, did you check the products by yourself?
I have heard the reviews about it.
Right.
Or maybe.
Pretty bad reviews for Deepika's product, I've heard.
Yeah, I like her, but I don't know why the
Right.
product
Right.
is like that. But they're selling the products. They're going off the shelf.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I think Kriti Sanan's product is by far one of the best-selling products. Hyphen. I think those are really very.
Personally, I don't like
Okay.
the product texture and all. I haven't used on my face, but I have just checked them,
Okay.
how they are and all. But yeah.
Right. So having said that, now we will try to understand more about things that happens after 40, because we have been speaking about 18 years and then 24 years old, but then after 40 your body goes into certain changes. You start getting your fine lines, your wrinkles and all of it. Aging of course happens. So I want to understand what are the right, not exactly products, but what are the right routines that we can do once we get into this age.
Okay. I think before it was 40. Now I'm seeing people around 30 to 35 itself.
Right.
They're showing signs of aging.
Right.
One more important thing is obesity, which is making them look old. Although they are young, like 30, 35, in and around, but the amount of pigmentation they get because of the insulin resistance and the amount of basically skin tags and like all that, and the signs of aging also will start early. Between 30 to 35, I'm seeing a lot of people getting it rather than 40.
Right.
Okay. So in the routine, if someone has pigmentation, I want them to use skin lightening serums is what they call.
Is it true skin lightening when we talk about, does the skin get lightened?
If the pigmentation or tan is 1 to 2 shades darker, yes, but it's not like from your color you're going to achieve some other different shade sort of. So that's what glutathione is popular for in whatever the marketing, or people are very fond of glutathione. They think if they apply glutathione cream they'll become fair. And Indians as such, we are still obsessed with the fairness thing. There is a slight shift, I can say, but skin lightening creams are named as such skin lightening because it can lighten to an extent, but it's not like it's going to give you fairness. Say for example, I'm traveling somewhere, I'm coming back from the trip, of course I'll be tan. When I apply a skin lightening cream, I'll go back to my original color.
Right. And Indians with their obsession with skin lightening, I'm telling you. So why do you think we are so obsessed with this skin lightening?
I think people think they look pretty when they're fair, which is...
Why do you think all of this has happened? Because see, Africans, they are a certain color, they're a certain shade, and then we have Americans a certain shade, and we are Indians, we also have a certain shade. But then why are we Indians so much, why do we have so much love towards, the fairer
I think
skin?
it's cultural. For South Indians, when they see North Indians, they feel, oh, they're so fair. I have heard in my relatives and all, when someone is dark, oh, you should not wear these colors. Something like that. And I see even now a little bit farther relatives, they come and say, the baby is only some 7-8 years old, they'll come and say, koncham tellagaya lagedena soap ivandi. Because the marketing ads were also like that. It's a cultural thing, and outside a marketing, everything. And also when even the North Indians, when they see someone from the West, they feel, oh, they're very fair. So for them, fairness is beauty. But now the standards are changing, I would say.
Yeah, these are changing.
People, because of, again, here I think Deepika played a major role. People have seen her dusky and they're like, okay, actually she's pretty. So there are some people who have made an impact, and they're embracing themselves. But there are again certain section of population who are like, no, we just want to look fair so that it'll look great.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very fascinating, and one of the answers that I've never gotten for this question is, why exactly do we think fairer skinned people are beautiful? It's there. Honestly, even if many people wouldn't accept, it's the truth that we believe, there are a certain set of people who believe that fairer skin is beautiful. I want to understand how exactly this got established. What do you think? I understand you might not have, I don't have an answer for this. I'm sure you might not also, but then why do you think, according to you, we have this fairer skin supremacy? What happened?
I think when a person is fair, and they apply a little bit makeup and they straighten the hair or like, you know, curls or whatever, and when they just dress up, automatically you see and you'll feel, oh, they're looking good. It's an instinct sort of like, you know, which happens to a lot of women. So maybe it's there since couple of years or something, so that's why, or maybe when the British were ruling India, maybe they have seen and they're like, oh, they're looking very pretty sort of.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I'm thinking
understand. You know, I
that's the
think,
only thing which I can think of.
Right. It's very heartbreaking for me also. You know, Doctor, you know, the first things first is you have your own clinic, and you've just mentioned that, you know, you started it 3 years back. So I want to understand the story behind, you know, Clinic Derm, your clinic name, how exactly it started, how exactly you put the name, and, you know, why did you think that you have to start a clinic by yourself?
So I was working for some private company, actually corporate company actually. So I was seeing like a lot of clients and all, and I thought, okay, there should be some place which gives a dedicated time to my clients or patients, and there is no differentiation between the clients, like be it medical or cosmetic or anything. The second thing is they should be very comfortable, and it has to be affordable as well. So when I'm working for someone, for sure it's different. So when I set up something, I know like I can help some people, at least when it is my own space.
Right.
So there are a lot of people who come to me, like, you know, who cannot afford and all. So I can design something for them and specifically, like, you know, tailor-made treatments or something. So I thought to have my own independence while working, I wanted to have a clinic. So when we were going through a lot of names, that there's like so many aesthetic names were coming, and then I'm like, no, I just don't want to do aesthetics. I want to treat medical conditions also, because that gives very satisfaction at the end of the day. So we wanted to have that fusion in the name, so that's why we thought Clinica Derm. So derm is nothing but skin, and it's a clinic sort of. Yeah, so that's how I was going around like searching for places and all, and then finally when I saw this place, I thought, okay, I can have a cute clinic at the same time, like I can help a lot of my clients, like, you know, in achieving their skincare goals or hair care goals basically.
Perfect. Amazing.
And also like I feel doctors are bad with their marketing strategies, or they don't know their potential actually. A lot of doctors, like when they work under someone, yes, to get a hands-on or something, or to get that flow, you can. But to establish a hospital or a clinic, they think so many times. But that way I was confirmed, like, okay, fine, I have to start a clinic. This was there when I was doing dermatology only. So I knew I had to start a clinic, but when is it? And then like COVID, like 2 years, it got pushed sort of. But a lot of doctors, when they're working under someone and all, they forget their potential, that they can start a clinic and actually do a better job. Because independence is what we want.
Right.
So,
you wouldn't compromise on your principles.
Yeah, and I can do for the patient whatever I want. I can reduce the price. I can do like, you know, mixture of treatment, like, you know, to get their thing. It's not like like a lot of corporates have like packages. So we don't do packages sort of. We can mix and match or adjust in that. So that flexibility of treatment you will have only when you are treating.
Right. Perfect.
That's fine.
To look at it, but then we will come now. You know, we have understood all of it. Now we were actually talking about you know, the wrinkles and age lines after 40, and I wanted to understand the procedure. So
when someone has like, you know, pigmentation concerns, we give them night creams, like basically skin lightening serums sort of, so that like, you know, they go back to their original color. But someone whom I see, or like, you know, starting to have like slight open pores and like slight fine lines and wrinkles, I would advise them to start like, you know, a vitamin A based serums like retinol, tretinoin, all these things. So these are like, you know, mainly for removal or reduction of the present concerns. Now there are other things which have come up like bakuchiol, growth factor, peptides, all these are anti-aging regime. So we can start them on one of these. Along with that, if the aging is like, you know, very severe, or like, you know, if they want to address it like, you know, strongly, and like they just want to maintain the skin like that, then we do anti-aging procedures usually. Those are in clinic based. But having said that, they have to use the regime for sure.
Right. When is actually, because nowadays we have seen I think recent interviews of actors and celebs, all of it, there's lots of talk about Botox.
Yeah.
Right, like after a certain age they are using Botox. Look at their skin now, it's all fine. There's this one thing that I want to talk about Botox, and also another thing that I'll let you know. But coming to Botox part, what exactly it is, because I've been hearing about it, and trust me, I've not done my research well when it comes to Botox. I've just heard it that yes, they do it, but then what exactly is Botox? Like, what does it do?
So Botox is actually a brand name.
Oh.
The actual thing is botulinum toxin,
Okay.
but they were the pioneers in that, so they named it as Botox, and that's how people think Botox. It's not
more like a product.
Yeah, it's more like a product. But the actual thing is, it's a toxin derived from a bacteria. So this toxin, which is nothing but protein. So when we inject the protein into the muscle, so it relaxes the muscle and it doesn't form the wrinkles. For example, when someone smiles, they get like lines here. That's because the eye muscle is circular.
Contracting.
So when you contract that, you get wrinkles. So when I give the injection, tiny prick of injection, it gets relaxed. Same thing with the forehead, frown. There are certain things what botulinum toxin can do. But people know that botulinum toxin is only useful for these, but it helps in excessive sweating over the palms and soles. It's wonderful for migraine. It can help for the back pain. There are multiple uses for the botulinum toxin. Medically, toxin was used in neurology and all those nerve pain and all way long back. But in aesthetics, it has come later on. So there was this eye surgeon. So oculoplastic surgeon they are called. They were using botulinum toxin for eye reasons. Basically there is some reasons wherein the eyelid will be flapping and all that. So when they were using the toxin, they realized subsequently the wrinkles have been gone.
Okay.
That's how it was used for aesthetics. But this is not something which has come up in aesthetics only, but it's popular in aesthetics.
Right.
Now I think it's a very bad marketing going on for toxin, because it's not bad at all. I actually see people very happy after doing their toxin treatments. Very small pricks of injection, but the wrinkles and the fine lines and all reduce, and it stays for 6 months. Now there is something called overdoing it. There are some people who overdo it, or maybe that's subconsciously happening, or it happens as a habit and eventually you want to do after 3 months, 4 months, something like that. That part I'm not sure about. But if you're doing it once in 6 months for a specific concern, a limited number of units is what we call, I think botulinum toxin will give you a very good result. And people also confuse between toxin and fillers. Now on the media, whoever we have seen, the face is bad, or it's looking very different, it's looking plastic and all. That's not just botulinum toxin. It has fillers, it has botulinum toxin, plus or minus any plastic surgery, implants also it can be.
Right. Side effects. Do we have side effects? Because most of the times when we talk about these kind of procedures or these kind of products, the very first thing that comes into mind is you do it now, it would be good, but later on, let's say 2 to 3 months, you'll understand, or later on when you grow up, you'll understand that these were very bad and all of it. So there are lots of taboo when it comes to usage of these kind of procedures associated with the side effects. Everyone, even if you ask me, maybe if not for this podcast, if I hadn't had this podcast, I would have said the same thing, that yes, you might have side effects. So what are the side effects that actually happens when it comes to these kind of procedures?
Go to your dermatologist, get it done only with a qualified dermatologist or a plastic surgeon, and restrict to the number of units. I mean, they are the ones who can tell you, listen, this is not needed here. You can just get the toxin in a certain area and this much units, that's all. So when you are sticking to these, ideally nothing happens. So when you're going, nowadays salons and spas also have these toxin treatments and all, and they're conducting it with a high tea sort of a thing, they're arranging, and they're doing Botox parties sort of. I have seen that, I have heard that too. Now if you're going randomly and getting it done, muscle action is different. Instead of one muscle, you prick it into another muscle, definitely you'll get some or the other side effect. Now the Botox side effect is not reversible. It takes 6 months good for you to get back to your own muscle strength. For example, if I have to inject here, but I'm going slightly lower and injecting, my eyebrow will be droopy and my eyelid also will be a little droopy. So that's the main reason why I should go to a qualified person and get it done.
Right.
Apart from that, tiny bumps sort of we can see for a couple of hours or maybe a day, and nothing major. But once anything goes wrong with the toxin, it's not reversible for 6 months. So you have to choose where you're going. So a lot of places like where they do like, for very less and all, they just see like, some points, okay, they'll just mark, okay, wherever there is. But you need to understand the facial muscles are very complex. Everything is interrelated, the movement and like, the muscle fascia, whatever is there. Instead of one place, you go to another place and
right.
You can't complain that like, this happened with me and Botox is bad or like, I don't want to get it done. Yeah.
Right. Now we'll talk about skin brightening part again. If you have known this, Kajal's daughter, she was very much trolled back then, her pictures where she was very dark skin, and now she has pretty much a very fair skin, to be very honest. And it's also claimed that it's not very natural for someone like that skin shade to actually achieve this skin shade. Do you think it's natural?
No, I don't think so. It's natural. They have done treatments for sure.
Right. And what are the
even
treatments?
Kajol, she is very popular for that, right? Yeah.
Right.
So ideally, what they do is they pump up with glutathione. Those are not your creams and soaps what you see online and like just pick it up. Those are injections which are done in clinic.
Or tablets, maybe. Perhaps?
Tablets to a certain extent, but what we call is the bioavailability of the tablets is slightly lesser. So when you take a tablet, it has to go through the liver, metabolize, and then its action should be shown. So I find sprays, sublingual sprays, like under the tongue spray basically, those are better results than tablets in my personal experience. But yeah, they do add on with tablets and IV glutathione injections and lasers. These are the things what they do. It's very small section of procedures actually, but these are done for skin lightening.
Right. What do you think people like such are also getting into these kind of procedures done? Why they can't be natural? Like why exactly this is happening? Is there a constant pressure for them as well to appear in a such a way?
So one is, yes, there is a peer pressure going on. The second thing is even they find fairness is good. Even they feel fairness is beautiful. That's the reason why they are going ahead with such sort of procedures. I don't see any other point like why they are doing it, because when you're dusky, a lot of people are dusky actually, and like they're in front of the screen and it's good actually, but they're doing it because even they find okay fine, even I have to be fair or something. Yeah.
Right.
That's the only motive behind anyone taking glutathione. They just want to be fair.
Right. And then Dr. Deepthi, can I call you Deepthi?
Yeah. Sure.
So one thing that I want to really understand for myself is that when we talk about fillers or when we talk about using plastic, right? I myself do not understand the whole point of plastic. I mean, I understand there's certain enhancements. That's I understand the fundamental functioning of that. I understand. But then coming to the fillers, I want to understand how exactly it's done. Like, what are the things that they use? Like, what exactly is filling up? Let's say lip fillers. I've heard my friend very recently that she wanted to have this lip fillers done. So I want to understand the procedure behind it, and does it have side effects as well?
So fillers are nothing but natural sugar, which comes in a pre-filled syringe.
Okay.
So one syringe is what when we open we would like to do a certain area. Now fillers are also like something very important like for a dermatologist or a plastic to do, because yes, fillers definitely can have some complications if not done right, or if placed in a wrong location it can displace or misplace and like cause a lump. Also if it is not done well, it can enter a blood vessel and block that area and form like a scar sort of. Especially around the eye, we are very careful. When we do fillers, like we are like, okay, we take our own time. We are not in a rush to do. Because it has its own complications for sure.
Right.
One good thing is any complication happens with filler, you can neutralize it on the table itself. Like immediately you will see like everything is sorted, unlike the toxin.
Okay.
So fillers are like for naturally to enhance your existing features. So you have to look like yourself and a better version. You can't show me some Kendall and Kim Kardashian's picture and ask me I want to look like this. They might have done a lot of things. So fillers done limitedly and to enhance the existing ones, I think they look good.
Right.
Also, a good doctor will say no when you need a filler, when you don't need a filler. A good doctor will say no, you don't need it. So you have to listen basically.
Right.
It's not like everyone should do it. So there is a peer pressure for fillers also nowadays is what I'm seeing. Actually they're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do the filler and all. No. There is a need for some people, for sure. Like we advise, like for example, under eye dark circles. It's not color dark circles. For some people, it's a hollow, which is because of the laxity of the ligament and bone here. There is a hollow which is created. For them, filler works, and they have to do so that it doesn't get worse later on. So we are trying to give you some support. So there are actually indications for filler wherein you have to do. Otherwise, this is going to go this way. We counsel them. Enhancement, yes, you can do. Someone who has very thin lips, they can do 1 ml filler and they can enhance their natural thing. But you can't expect to have like, Russian lips or like, say showing some actress or like, saying I want that. It is a process. And even those actresses or like, whoever is doing, they don't do in one shot. It is a process for them.
Right. Number of people I have known who have get into, under the scissors, plastics or, the fillers and all of it. I think, as far as I know, Shruti Hassan is one of them who actually look pretty, right? I mean, she looks pretty.
Yes.
And then there are very few Aditi Rao Hydari also, right? But then most of the times who I see, the others, I feel that, they have done it wrong or, they're not the same anymore. Or we say that, she was beautiful back then, not now and all of it. Why does this happen and, what exactly can be done here?
So, when it comes to Aditi Rao, Shruti Hassan and like even Alia, Deepika, even they get fillers. They're restricting themselves to their natural features. Shruti has definitely like, done a lot.
Like, she's like completely different now.
Yes. But it's done nicely.
Right.
That's a good job. So when they're doing it nicely and it's a step by step, you can see in each and every movie her change. Even Samantha's, you can see like, so much change with each and every movie or like, every 6 months or so. So it's done gradually over a period of time and retaining their main features.
Right.
It's not going overboard or something. And Bollywood, even Katrina, like a lot of them have done fillers actually. Or everyone does fillers actually, but they don't tell it out because it looks
I really
like
love,
them.
actually I love about Shruti Hassan is that she's very open about it.
Yes.
She has never hidden or she's like, no, I did not do.
It's all seen, so she can't even hide it also.
Okay. All right. But then she has always been vocal about it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
You're saying something. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's what. A lot of them do fillers. But they do few syringes, that's all. So that their face looks the same. It doesn't look like someone else. Now, if you're trying to look like someone else and you want to achieve some unrealistic thing, then that's where the mistake happens. The best thing about this is, again, like if you don't want it, you melt away the filler, it goes back to your original.
Right. Now we'll talk about the most important thing that we don't talk much. It's about the men's skincare routine. We don't talk about it much, but then I myself have started, I don't know if, so I was on a India tour for like almost for a month. And by the time I came back, my skin was gone completely. Like it was completely damaged, and I was completely tanned. Even now, I'm tanned. Like my skin is completely damaged even right now. So I want to understand what's your take on men routine and what exactly should men do to actually take care of themselves.
So men actually don't take care of their skin. Even now, I think 80% of the men, 20% of the men are actually taking care. And the consultations for men's skincare have increased so much. Even they want to use some or the other thing and like maintain the skin. I have a lot of men around my house. None of them use sunscreen. Even me being a dermat telling them like regularly, okay, use a sunscreen, use a face wash or something. They just wash randomly like using whatever is available and like they don't apply anything. They're good with that. So I think first thing is when you apply something on the face, they feel there is something on the face.
Exactly.
It's not their natural skin. That's one of the main reasons, like what I have seen men telling me, oh no, we don't want to apply because it always feels like there is something. But I think with the product shift, like the quality of the products which have come, once they apply, there is nothing seen or like felt on the skin because they absorb really well. In the men's skincare routine, I think they have to be very particular with the hair. A lot of them are losing hair way early in their age. The moment you see some hair fall, especially like 50 to 70 strands per day, please visit your dermatologist, because if it is going to continue after 2 years, if you come back to us and ask like what do I do for my hair, then we give you a big list like wherein you have to follow and which gets stopped in between. So again like it's very difficult for us to like get back the hair actually. The second thing is about the face. They have to be consistent, and again they can follow just a basic skincare routine. Morning, cleanse properly and apply a sunscreen. Someone who is always outdoor, they have to wash their face in between and reapply the sunscreen. Most of the people, they feel it's difficult, but once you get a hang of it, you'll feel comfortable. In the evening, come back, wash your face. I would say just directly apply a serum which has little bit moisturizing benefit also, so that I can cut down on their routine moisturizer, some serum, something like that. Yeah. So I think morning one sunscreen, evening one serum with moisturization should be good enough for them. If they follow this, then maybe we can think of adding something else.
Right. So I think that's so much for into your profession that I've got into, and I think I've understood a lot of things, and I myself will take care of the routine that you've just mentioned right now. I'll do that myself. But right now, since we are on the podcast and we basically speak about your profession and personal life both, so now we'll get into your personal life, right? So I want to understand first, how did you become a doctor, and that to a dermatologist? How did you come here and you thought that yes, this is what I want to do? So I want to understand that part of your story.
Okay, I think it will be slightly a funny story. So I was good at maths and science both, but then I thought, okay, fine, let me just take biology and just go ahead with MBBS. And I just took it. It was, touch wood, it was a little easy path for me. It was easy for me to get through MBBS, and after that, when I was giving my All India exams, that's where the confusion began. Now you have to fill so many, some 200, 250 choices of colleges to get through after you get the rank actually. So of all, what I have realized was dermatology is the only branch which doesn't have night duty. And I am a person who can't stay awake after 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I'll become a zombie. In my internship also, when I was doing night duty, at 2 o'clock, if some emergency comes, it was very difficult for me to get up and understand what's happening and do a CPR or something. So I realized, okay, night thing is not for me. But again, I was not getting dermat in the first counseling itself. So I got gynecology. Then I thought, okay, fine. And it was in Madras Medical College. So I was like, okay, I just want that college because it's very well established sort of. So I took it. 2-3 duties, I'm like, okay, when am I going to get dermatology? In the second counseling, I got dermatology, and without thinking twice, I just went ahead. I did not know that sexually transmitted diseases, leprosy, everything exists in dermatology. I was so unaware of that, but I thought, okay, it doesn't have night duties. And also the second thing is, I was always little bit fond of this aesthetic thing and all. I was considering also plastic surgery, but it's again a very long course. Then I thought, okay, again you have to do night duties and all, so the shortcut is dermatology. But once I entered, I actually started liking the subject, how intense it is. I mean, so many diseases, people don't know all that. So people know fever, malaria, typhoid, these are all very common. But when it comes to the dermatology diseases and all, it's so complex also. The treatment is also complex. It's a very long-term follow-up and everything. But I started fascinating about all these diseases and all that, reading the dermatology basically. It was very interesting. Also the sexually transmitted diseases part also, I was so unaware this is also a thing. But when I read, I'm like, oh, so many things are there. So I was blank, I was like, okay, what is happening? But then for 6 months, you'll be very confused when you join dermatology. But after that, you will know, okay, what to read, what is it, which is common, what is happening in India. Because dermatology is mainly Western thing actually. All the books mostly were written by them. But now, I think in the past 2-3 years, a lot of Indian books are also there, but venereology and leprosy, mainly Indian books. So everything about India, you can read the history, when it comes to syphilis and all, way back, in 18th century, 19th, all those books are Indian books actually. They were amazing. So when it comes to dermat, sunscreens and all that are all Western. So all those books, their skin types, they make us understand how is it there, that. But when it comes to practice, it's totally different again. So when you're treating, not many medical conditions come to us in a private practice. They go to mainly corporate setups big names like Yashoda, Care and all that, because admissions and all happen. So once I entered, I developed that interest and all. But the reason for entering is only because there were no night duties. You have mentioned about STDs in dermatology, and most of us do not know about it. And I myself did not know till yesterday because I had to do certain research for myself. So I want to understand what exactly is STDs in dermatology and why exactly this is there and how exactly this happens, the sexually transmitted disease, especially when it comes to the skin to skin contact. So what exactly happens, how exactly this happens, and how can we actually prevent this? So sexually transmitted infections and diseases were separated. Before it was all under sexually transmitted diseases, but now it's separated. Infection is something you take a course of antibiotic or something and then it gets treated. Disease is something little bit long term. Okay, so previously most of the diseases actually present in the form of a rash. So that's the reason they were included in the skin. Even now, when a person gets a rash and a fever, they come to us. But eventually, like, you know, when we detect it's a dengue or a typhoid or something, we send it back to the physician also. So it's like overlap. Anything in the body, usually the first sign what you see is in the skin. For example, insulin resistance or diabetes or pre-diabetes condition, you see a thick layer of skin on the neck. That's one thing. The second thing, like if you talk about like, you know, syphilis or something, you see an ulcer or a rash. Rash can happen on the body or ulcer in the genital area. So all these STIs have a sign or a symptom
which appears on the skin.
Mainly. So that's where it starts. Because unless it appears, how would you think like you have that, right? So once we see the rash and then like we go ahead with like, you know, further investigations and all, we diagnose that.
Right. So, you know, since we are talking about personal life, I'm sorry I deviated here again. So now I want to understand about, I mean, I understood how you chose your college and, you know, how exactly dermatology has come to you. But then I want to understand after that, you know, since you've been practicing and right now you're a doctor yourself, how has the journey been?
It's been actually fun and wonderful. This is what I wanted. And yeah, it's going that way. So immediately after college, I did from Ramaya, Bangalore. And then I moved to Hyderabad immediately after college. I joined a corporate where I got some good hands-on and like, you know, a lot of clients and like everyday basis basically. I finished my work by 8 and like, you know, I used to just go in the morning shift or evening shift something, and it was like pretty cool since then. And 3 years back I started my clinic and it's going good. So I get variety of clients actually, like it's more of a personal connection with the clients rather than just come get the treatment and go. It's not like that. So we develop a very good rapport because unless my consultation is half an hour, 40 minutes, I don't understand what is it they're looking at or what they want. Because previously with the doctors, the consultations, they used to feel like, you know, only 5 minutes, 10 minutes sort of. It doesn't happen with me like that. It takes half an hour easily. Because they just don't come with like one skin rash or something, skin, hair or some other body concern for sure. They'll have multiple issues basically. So when they come, if I just ask them few questions for 1-2 minutes and like give a prescription, it's not going to work. I have to explain them, I have to talk to them, know what they do and know how busy their schedule is and then give them a prescription which fits them. And also like when we do procedures and all, we have some half an hour, 40 minutes time. So we chit chat with the clients and like after a while like they become more like a family because we stay in the clinic more than the house. So they keep talking and like we have some fun conversations also. Also we get to know like, you know, so many new things, especially when the Gen Z clients come. They say some fancy things also. I'm like, oh yeah. So it's actually fun. I like dermat, like I like what I'm doing at least. So I am not tired or something. I'm like, okay, I want to do this more.
You know, one thing about dermatologists, it's one of the highest paid jobs when it comes to the money and the amount that we owe. But then coming to abroad, it's highly paid, right? When it compared to India and you know, abroad, it's highly paid abroad. So did you ever thought of going abroad and, you know, having your own established, you know, place or hospital or clinic or something like that?
I had that plan after MBBS, wherein you have to give the MLE. But for some reason I thought, okay, fine, let me just stay here because we did not know many doctors or many people in US actually. I mean, usually you have relatives who have finished and all that. So no, my family doesn't have much of a doctor background. So I thought, okay, fine, why should I like, you know, put my head into it and like, you know, risk and all. I know here you give one exam, but just work hard for it, you'll get through it. So I thought, okay, fine, let me do it. And I thought only once I'll give, I can't give twice and all. I'm that kind of person. I can't give exams twice. So one exam, if I'm getting it, okay. Otherwise, I'll be okay with whatever I'm getting. After that, after finishing dermat, actually I considered going abroad and all, but I realized we can't go because again you go there, you have to go through because dermat is very highly paid there. So you can never become a dermat. You have to be a first generation or second generation over there is what I feel to get the dermat. I haven't seen anyone who is going from here, like a lot of my friends and all are juniors. They are all like the general physicians and rheumatology, like those other branches, never a dermat I have seen. But I think Dubai has a lot of options for dermatology. If you have 5 years of practice here, I think you'll get good opportunities there.
Right. One more thing that I want to ask you, since you're a doctor, why does doctors marry doctors? I've always seen this. There's a doctor always getting married to a doctor. So why exactly does this happen? Like, do you have some plans, like even before writing your exams, like I'm going to marry a doctor or what?
No, I think families are wired like that inside. Okay, my daughter is going to become a doctor, so we have to search doctor guy only. Or like, my son is a doctor, we'll get a doctor wife. So basically this happened previous generations, wherein the understanding capacity between the doctors is better. Because half the time those days, like or even now, like I go at morning 10, 11 and I finish at 8. My husband goes to work at 8 and he finishes at 6. So there is a very narrow time, and we don't have Saturday, Sunday. Especially being a dermat, there is no Saturday, no Sunday. Those 2 days are fully packed. Now, if I marry a non-doctor, actually, like a lot of my friends married non-doctors. I was open for it, but my parents were not. So a lot of people have married non-doctors these days. Especially it happens in like radiology, dermatology, and all, where it's not like very stressful. I have seen like some doctors, there is so much stress for them. It's a life and death scenario for them on a day-to-day basis. Now, if I go and talk to a non-doctor, there are some people who are open to hear all those. But every time I go and tell, like, listen, this thing happened today, patient, this thing happened, BP fluctuated. Now, who will have that much interest to hear about these things? So maybe that was the thing before. That's why they thought doctor is the best thing. So I think that's just running like that.
Right. So you're married now. I want to understand, how did you get married then? What was your thought process getting married to a doctor? Because your husband's also a doctor.
Yeah. For me, I wanted the guy to be a little bit cool, not like, too much into like, I have to read this, I have to do this, like that. Yeah, we want to work, and rest of the time we want to chill, have our own time. That's all. I want it to be, not too particular about everything. He has to be a little bit relaxed, like, okay, we have to do this, nothing like that. Calm and relaxed.
Do you tell him or advise him about, the skincare routines as well? Do you?
I tried sunscreen, even that did not work. So, but he's very particular with his hair care routine though.
Right. I think we men take care of our hair, not
because that's the only cosmetic thing, like men carry. If you lose hair, like automatically people look very old. Actually, I have seen that. So when I do hair transplants, actually, I see people like who after the transplant, after 8 to 10 months, when they come, they look 5 to 8 years younger. Or they look their age. When I don't do transplants for someone who is less than 25-year-old, because they're still in the progressive stage. Beyond 25, there are people who look like 40. But when I do transplant, they look their age, because hair holds that strong cosmetic importance actually.
Right. No, I get it, because I'm a man too, and I'm a boy. I don't know. I'm a man too. And then I also understand the whole sunscreen part, because I myself have been told by my sister, by my exes, by my girlfriends. I don't know. I lost my count. But then yes, they do tell me about the sunscreen part, but I never followed. But I try to follow, because I've heard that it's really important. And since you have also mentioned that it's really important, I'll try the routine that you just mentioned.
That's one basic thing you can do so that you're sorted for a couple of years.
Right. So this would be the last question on our podcast. That's basically about life. So what I do is I generally call my guests, and one thing that I always ask them is what's their perspective towards life, like what do they see life as, and what exactly life is for them. So if at all I can ask you this question, what would be your answer?
I am also thinking. I don't know.
Anything not dermat you will think about.
Is it? Okay.
It's not that kind of
right. Oh, I got your weakness now.
I was also like very intensely listening. What do you think?
Yeah. I don't know. I just want things to be easy, sorted. I don't want to put much head into on a day-to-day basis. I just want to go work, eat some good food, come back and relax.
Right.
Yeah, I have these phases where I want to work out like, massively, and then sometimes it's okay, like fine, sort of. So, yeah, very basic.
Just say work hard, chill hard. That's what
yeah, maybe.
Right. Perfect. So from here on, what's in for Dr. Deepthi? Like, what are your ambitions, your goals, and what are the things that you want to accomplish?
So I have my own clinic now.
Right.
I want to take it to the next level, basically.
Right.
So I'm just trying to figure out, like, how to provide like some great service to my clients in terms of treatments, in terms of like taking the clinic to the next level, like everything. So that's one of my main thing. The second thing is squeeze in some time to travel, although I'm not much of a travel person, because I just, if I'm traveling, I just want to go reach the destination. I don't want to again like travel again 4-5 years to go. I mean, basically when you go to north and all, like you have to land somewhere and then again travel 4-5 hours. I'm like, okay, that I don't want to do. I just want to land in the destination and just relax for 4-5 days and then come back.
Right.
So these are the two main things currently.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And personally, like these are professional and traveling, of course, is personal. But then personally, what do you aspire, and how do you?
I want to maintain my fitness, even at 50 or 60. I want to look the same.
Okay.
And I don't know. I'm looking at him.
Okay.
No.
All right. Perfect then. So I think this is it for the podcast, and it was great talking to you. But then before we end this podcast, we believe in impact. I believe in impact. So basically, there are lots of podcasts who call upon guests and amazing guests, and they talk about their lives and all of it. But then when it comes to impact part, I want it to be much more sudden, or let's say much more on the time and on the plate. So we'll play a small game, which would be a philanthropic game. So we'll play a small game, and whoever loses the game, they'll have to perform a philanthropic dare. So let's say we both play and I lose, so I'll have to perform, I'll have to go to a school, anything, any philanthropic dare, or government school, and volunteer my time, or feed certain stray dogs, or underprivileged kids and children, like that. So anything small, philanthropic game we'd be playing. So right, you're ready?
Yeah.
Right. So we'll play a blinking game. Whoever blinks first, they'll lose the game.
I'll blink first. I'm already telling you.
No, I have actually lost many times. I don't think you'll lose. And especially, I think girls have an edge when it comes to...
I used to blink a lot, like when I was shooting, like initially for my reels and all, like every second, some 2-3 times I used to blink.
Right.
Maybe I have gotten better, but I don't know. Yeah, we can try that.
All right, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
I want to blink all.
Okay. So, I know. Okay, so since Dr. Deepthi has lost the game, what we'll do is, in this, we have written some 4 dares, and whichever you choose from 1 to 4, whichever number you choose, you'll have to perform. Like, we'll come together, our team and you and your team and whatever, and then we'll perform this dare. All right, together. Yeah. Perfect then. So, any number from 1 to 4?
3.
Okay, 3. It says donate food to underprivileged children or adults. All right.
Yeah.
So whenever you're free, let us know, and we'll come down and we'll do this. And I'm sure people will love it. The impact would be there.
Yeah.
All right. It was great talking.